real fine, my 409. She's real fine, my 409, my 409. Well, I saved my pennies and I saved my dimes. Giddy up, 409. For I knew there would be a time. Giddy up, 409. When I would buy a brand new 409. 409.
Hey everybody, we're back again. Wheels of Wellesley, the number 12 show. And with us today is Will Farnsworth. Now, Will here is the new president of the Modifiers Club, who's responsible for producing Wheels of Wellesley. And with us is a very special car. In fact, this car was written about by the Beach Boys in the early 60s. Tell us about this crazy 409 Chevrolet.
Well, it's a 1963 Chevy Impala Super Sport, and one of the options you could do is you could get the largest motor that they had available at the time, 409 cubic inch displacement, 425 horsepower motor. This was only available with the Super Sport.
So I have to ask a question. Chevrolet Motor Division, what were they thinking when they stuffed this enormous motor inside this vehicle? What were they trying to achieve?
Well, they were hoping like people would go to the weekend drag races, and that, where they would be winning the drag races and make a greater name for Chevrolet, and more people would buy their cars. That was a lot of emphasis back then, was either drag racing or racing on the track at Daytona. So that was their thinking.
Nothing can catch her, nothing can touch my 409, 409, 409,
During the 1930s, the British car industry introduced a Austin motor car. These things were teeny tiny. They were very prolific in the UK, and they sold in limited numbers here in the United States. So when I was walking by, I spotted John's car and I said, hey, we got to take a closer look at this. What is the story behind this very unique vehicle?
Well, it was made for export. It hasn't been converted to left-hand drive. It was made left-hand drive, made for export from England, made in June of 41, and came here right away afterward. Apparently the ships that were supplying the war effort,
Merchant ships.
They were bringing stuff back with them when they came. And anyway, the couple that bought it was wealthy. They were upset with the price of gasoline, so they bought it because it said to be 30 or so miles to the gallon, which I guess it does. I don't drive it that much,
These people weren't from New England, were they?
Yeah. They were definitely from New England. But the car has got no heater, and it's got side curtains, no roll-up windows. But anyway, and they named the car Ickes after Harold Ickes, who was the energy czar during the Second World War. Everybody blamed him for the shortage of gasoline and the high prices.
Even though he had nothing to do with it.
Correct. But the family bought it, and when gasoline and that got back to normal, they just put it in the van and left it there, and it sat for, 30 or 40 years, And a friend of mine had it. It's his family. I'm only the second owner. They had it since new. I have the bill of sale for it. They paid $850 for it, and they got it from Crandall Hicks, which was in Boston originally, and then they moved to Wellesley years later on Route 9.
So $850 was sticker price back then?
Correct, but my 41 Pontiac, which is twice the metal and twice the size as this, was $858.
I was going to say, that's quite a bit of money in 1941 money.
For a little car that was supposed to be economical than that, yes. It's not comfortable. It does maybe 45 at the most. That's how it was economical. You just couldn't go very fast,
So what kind of power plant delivers this 30 miles to the gallon?
It's a 900cc flathead, which means the valves are in the block. Very, very simple engine. It's like a Model T. There's no water pump. It's got thermal siphon cooling, which means the water just circulates itself by heat through the radiator. It's got mechanical brakes, and of course there's no heater, defroster, radio, or anything. It was the bare bones.
No power robbing accessories.
No.
So here it is in all its glory. It looks like a garden tractor motor.
Well, and I jokingly say that. I take the mower deck off for weekends. People get a kick out of that, you know. It's not Briggs and Stratton. It was made in England.
The generator's half the size of the engine.
Correct.
Ah, there you are. You've been hiding. You forgot something.
Thank you.
That's gratitude for you. I crawl out here on my hands and knees, and what do I get? A dirty look. A pretty face, but still a dirty look.
I beg your pardon?
Well, John, it's been a real privilege to talk to you about this amazing piece of history.
The car is amazing. It's and that's the beauty of keeping it going, to explain it to people. And again, a car club like the modifiers here today, that's the only way to go with an old car. Everybody goes through the same things, and you meet people, they'll tell you who they went to for this and that, and save you a lot of aggravation and money, you know. So it's worth being in a club.
It's a great club.
Just for the camaraderie and everything else.
And they are responsible for the success of this show.
Oh, and it's fun. It's fun.
Dear one, the world is waiting for the sunrise. Every rose is covered with dew, and while the world is waiting for the sunrise, then my heart is calling you.
So here we have a 1952 Pontiac that Gene owns. These things used to be called the Ponch back in the day. And this car has been slammed and worked and redone. So we wanted to ask the owner, Gene, what was the history behind this gray beauty? So tell us what's going on with this custom car.
Well, my wife and I wanted to do a rested mod, and we didn't want to do the typical Chevy 57 or something like that, or Ford Galaxy, and we wanted something very unique. The Chieftain is very rare, and we like the body lines of the 52, and we started this back in 2019 and found a vehicle, and it was built by Hot Rod Dynamics in Lenoir, North Carolina, and we're really happy with the result. We're really enjoying the car.
So is the suspension set up where you can manipulate the ride height?
Correct. So the minute I turn the key on and start the vehicle, it'll come at drive height, but then you can put it anywhere you want, really. It will drive at the lowest height, what it's set at right now, but obviously, you know, once you get on two main roads, etc., it's not advisable.
No, but it looks neat, but it's tough on the chrome.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, we just put it at ride height. It still looks great, drives great, full power steering, air conditioning, just like any other restaurant.
So it's configured like a modern vehicle.
Correct. Modern chassis, four-wheel disc brakes. You know, it has all the modern features.
I couldn't even identify the motor. It looked completely modern.
It is. It's an LT1. We put the Pontiac valve covers on there. It's got a Magnuson supercharger. It dynoed at about 625 at the rear wheel.
Only 625?
Only 625.
Well, the Hellcat guy got you beat, but he left early.
Yes, exactly. But, you know, it's just a cruiser. We're just having fun.
Dear one, the world is waiting for the sunrise. Every little rosebud is covered with dew, and my heart is calling for you. The thrush on high, his sleepy mate is calling, and my heart is calling you.
Today we have the long distance award goes to Ed Clark from Seekonk, Massachusetts. My producer and I were walking down the row here and we saw this elaborate setup with this hydraulically actuated flatbed Chevrolet pickup, but that's about all I can tell you about it. Ed, how did you put this package together? It's really impressive.
Well, this is a 1939 ton-and-a-half truck that I found by accident. I was trying to find a part for a truck I was building for somebody, and I found a dealer that dismantles trucks in Nebraska. And I asked him if he had the part that I needed. He did. Then he said, well, I sell trucks too. I said, well, I'm not interested. But but I'm going to send you pictures. Well, he sent me this, and I fell in love with it. So I agreed, and I bought the truck, and I let it sit for a while. Then I came across a donor truck that had the engine, the rear end, the chassis that I needed to build this, and I started the build. And I got about halfway into it, and I decided I was going to do a tribute to the farm that I grew up on as a kid, and that's the name on the door of the truck, Shady Acre Farm in North Attleboro. And of course, once I started going in that direction, we had John Deere's on the farm, so I said, well, I got to find a John Deere. Well, the truck's a 39, so the tractor had to be a 39. So I did research on that and finally found one in Pennsylvania, went down there, got that, restored it, and when the truck was done, it went in the back, and it's been there ever since.
Well, you even have the right John Deere green for gosh sakes.
Yes, of course.
They still use that same color tint.
Yeah, put it in there.
Does the tractor actually operate?
Yes, I had that done before I had the truck done. So I used to ride it around the yard. We would decorate it in the fall and decorate it in the winter. And then I decided, well, I'm just going to put it away because I know I want to put it in the back of this. And so
keep it all nice and pretty.
Yeah, exactly.
So what does this weigh, gross vehicle weight, all in?
I'm going to say probably 6,000 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll bet it's a humdinger on gas, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. It's got a 496 cubic inch engine with a little blower on it. It'll stay up with traffic, that's for sure.
Indeed. Ed, this is an amazing story. Thank you so much for being part of the show.
Of course.
Ford Bronco, first four-wheel drive sports car, blazing a new trail of excitement. The new Ford Bronco for 1966, a rough, tough, go-anywhere, climb-anything sports car.
What has been going on down below as the presumed vehicle of O.J. Simpson is still traveling very slowly northbound along the 5 freeway, coming up again towards the 91 intersection. At that point, we'll just have to wait and see which way he's going to go, but at this point, it's still a fairly laid-back situation.
I'm with my former neighbor, Chris Larson, and I said we have to do a piece on the Ford Bronco. It was in the 1960s, due to competitive pressure with Chevrolet, Ford Motor Company introduced a rugged off-road four-wheel drive short wheelbase truck, and here it is. This is the original example, which was the springboard for today's current offerings with the Ford Bronco Sport and the full-size Bronco. Chris, you've done a ton of work to this thing. It looks like it doesn't have a whole lot in common with the original product. So what's going on?
The frame is still original, none of the suspension attached to it, but the actual steel, and the actual sheet metal, and that's about it. I sent it to Illinois, and they took it completely apart and put a James Duff suspension on it, which is, James Duff goes back to stroke Broncos that were off-roaded, when they first, in the 60s, 70s, mostly 70s probably. And he's got modern stuff, and we put a Gen 3 Coyote in it, right out of the Mustangs, with a 10-speed automatic transmission. So it's nothing like it was in 71, but it's exactly like it was in 71. Still has the character, now it does burnouts. But it's good. It's great. I've always loved them. I had one in high school. and wanted another one, and then got this 18 years ago.
Well, thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you. Good to see you.
So here we are with my friend Tom Ackerman of Wellesley, Mass, and we are standing in front of his family's MGTD. And this is a pre-war design that was a carryover largely because of World War II production restraints, which we touched on earlier in the show. So Tom, tell us the history about this car.
So this is my wife's father restored this car. He was a car dealer in Klamath Falls, Oregon. He would sell to the locals any car. He would drive down to San Francisco and pick up cars at auction and drive them to Klamath, a small town in the middle of the desert of Oregon, dry as a bone. And he was an MG fan, so he went through several MGs. This was his very last one. He had it in the garage. It was his last restoration that he did before he passed away. It's all original, 93,000 miles on it, no rust other than what's been accumulated since it got to New England, but I'm trying to take good care of it for him.
It doesn't look very rusty to me.
There's a few nuts and bolts that I have to work on, but it came fully restored, so I'm grateful to him for that. It's a lot of fun to have.
So what size engine does this thing have?
I'm not entirely sure, but it's got all of 55 horsepower, so you were asking earlier how it does on the highway. I wouldn't know. I never take it past 40 miles an hour. So.
You could light the wheels up with this bad boy.
Yeah. Well, I told Candace, I said, if the engine ever dies, I'm just going to stuff an electric motor in there and some batteries in the gas tank. And she said, over my dead body. So we'll just keep burning petrol with this thing for a while longer.
This is a really exciting example, and it looks so lovely and straight, and the paint's shiny and smooth. You're a very lucky guy.
I am indeed. Thank you.
Okay.
Get hip to this timely tip when you make that California trip. Get your kicks on Route 66. Get your kicks on Route 66. Get your kicks on Route 66. Get your Get you.